Hey guys, Tarke here, and this is my soft guide to Betrayal. This is coming from the point of view of a level 91 player. Day 3 at the start of the league, I've got into red maps. The highest I've done is tier 13 or 14, this is a tier 11. And I just thought I'd include the fight in here because people wanted me to show like more gameplay of the build. So I'm going to show you like how I go about upgrading certain members and how I make the decisions I make. Let me just clear this out so we don't get randomly killed while we're looking at all the different options. Right, so when you encounter someone in the wild, they do annoying talking. But anyway, so I have two options. I can either move him to research, which is this one, or I can imprison him. So how do you choose what it is you want to do and how do you progress throughout the thing? So very base level, if you look at these rows of wood, you can almost use them as tiers. So this is the final boss, then these four are the underlings of the boss. You raid these four to get safe houses. So everything I do in intervention here is to slowly build up this bar. Once this gets to 100%, I can raid the safe house. Once I've raided the safe house, this guy will give me research towards the final boss. Once you do the final boss or wipe to the final boss, the entire board resets. So people in these ranks are very important. I'll get back to it later. People who have nothing on them and anyone in this row, they're not assigned to anyone, so they're kind of like free spirits. And then anyone in this prison here, every turn, which is every time you encounter a syndicate out in the wild, they are giving you like knowledge or information, sorry, towards the location. So this guy is in intervention, so every turn I encounter people, he's slowly ticking this up. You can have up to 3 people in this bar. When people go into here, they will lose a rank, and when they leave, they lose all of their items. So how do you pick who goes where and does what? So using this example of Hillock, and also when you hover over the syndicate members, you can see what items they have equipped, and you can see what they give. So here we can see Hillock, Guarding Fine, Armorsmith equipment. Now, syndicate members don't always have the exact same things. When the board resets, when they lose and come back on, their mods will actually change. So you need to kind of check every now and again and say, okay, so this guy has fossils, for example. Now, each syndicate member, the mods they have, they're in like a theme. So you'll see lots of the same kinds of things. So very quickly, you'll start to notice who are the ones that I really enjoy. So for example, Gravicious, he gives div cards. He has a lot of div card stuff. And if you have a tier 3 Gravicious, and you have him as a guardian here, like the top rank, when you raid the safe house, he'll have chests which give you completed full sets of div cards. I've had 6 links, I've had a Porcupine 6 link, I've had Dapper Prodigy 6 link, and I've had Wealth. And they're the full entire completed set. So I really like getting Gravicious to rank 3, and I like getting him up here. So with Hillock here, we have the option of moving him to research or imprisoning him. Now, I don't really care about getting the fine Armorsmith equipment, so I will imprison him to gain more research.
Makes me angry.
So we've imprisoned him. Now, sometimes what will happen is you'll have 2 options, and it's like, do I want this or do I want this? Well, actually, they both seem bad. If both options seems bad, sometimes it's fine to just walk away. You don't need to choose one. You won't get loot from the like end explosion that you get whenever you finish an option, but you won't set yourself backwards. So, for example, Guff, Tiny here. Tiny gives you the timed chests at the end. Like, you'll have a little window pop up, and you'll have like 10 to 20 seconds to craft an item. And you'll have a slot where you put the item in, and then a random slot of just a load of currency. I find that a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. So now that we're with a rank 3 fully equipped, buffed up Guff here, and we're at 80% safe house information, I don't want to remove you. Now, everyone beneath him, however, so Looting Breach Scarabs, also rank 3, I want to keep you here. Thieving Shaper Scarabs, also rank 3, I want to keep you here. Leo, Torment Scarabs, I don't care about Torment Scarabs. So what I'm going to do, next time I see Leo, I'm going to execute him if I get the option. This will put him to rank 3. The ranks, you see the little star, 1, 2, 3. The higher the rank is and the higher the position is, the more information they'll give you when you interrogate them. Now, if I get the option to upgrade Leo, he'll go up to rank 3, meaning that next time I interrogate him, I'll get enough information to completely finish this bar. Now, if the next time I encounter Leo, I just get the option to interrogate him straight away, I will also do that because it will probably be just enough with 3 turns at rank 2. So, what do all these funny lines mean? The yellow lines means that this is the boss, this is the underboss, these guys are connected, right? Now, the green lines mean people are friends. So, for example, we have It That Fled, which has a green line all the way across to Elrond in transportation. So even though It That Fled is in intervention and Elrond is in transportation, if I encounter Elrond during a transportation mission, It That Fled will actually join the encounter to help out the friends. Likewise, if they have the red lines, that means they're rivals. If I was to encounter Elrond in the wild and there was a red line here, It That Fled could actually join in to betray Elrond and do some funny shenanigans there. Now, another thing that can happen, with this encounter, I only had 1 syndicate member. If you have 3 syndicate members, the options they give you will actually change based on who else is there. So let's say, hypothetically, that we had Elrond and It That Fled, and they were rivals. Now, if we also had Gravitius's option would be something just kind of like either upgrade ranks or interrogate, and that would be that. It That Fled and Elrond's, because they're rivals, their 2 options would be one which would benefit them and screw over the other. This is where you get the option to sometimes remove people completely from the syndicate board. Now again, they will come back later, and every time you remove someone from the syndicate board, someone who isn't on the board gets added in, so you won't be in the situation where you have like no one left there. Now generally, I don't like having the rivalries on there. There might be a way to manipulate it later on, but from what I've encountered, mostly it just seems to set you back. I like to just get as much research and as much ranks as possible. So whenever I get the option to clear rivalries, I will go for it. Now, other small things which are kind of worth looking out for is generally, so here for example with intervention, because this is nearly complete here, having my Gravitius, if I got the option to move him to intervention, I would want that because I'd want that to complete as soon as possible. Here, for example, in research, this has got very low information. So even if here examining fossils was rank 3, I wouldn't mind interrogating you. Even though that's a mod that I want on a rank that I want. If you have someone, Gravitius is a better example here, right? Even though this is my favorite mod on the board, even though he is currently a high rank, because it's so far from filling up the safe house location, I can afford to interrogate him for a few turns. If you ever want to just force it, like here, let's say I was really desperate just to do one more safe house, one strat I've actually been doing is jumping into tier 1 atoll maps and just running through the map. The second I see the syndicate event, I do the event, and then I leave, and then I put a new map in. So you can like choose, do you want to target farm it? So now let's kind of get into the difficulty aspects of things. So let's say that, like, okay, Tarke, I understand how the system works now, but I'm just finding it incredibly difficult. Do you have any advice on how I can make things easier for myself? The main thing, if you're really struggling, like really, really struggling, don't upgrade them when you get the option to upgrade them. Because when you upgrade them, they get all these items. So here we have critical strike and accuracy, chaos resistance, hinder on hit, poison on hit, that's attack damage, I believe. Multiple projectiles, obviously very powerful. Increased life, increased AoE, attack speed, lightning res. Cast speed, explodes corpses into acid, bleed on hit, right? So if you're really struggling with a particular member on your board, maybe just check and be like, oh, it's because I've given him like multi-proj and explodes corpses into acid. One thing I found very helpful, because there's a lot of buffs based on consuming corpses, is if you're a build which doesn't shatter, put an offering skill into a cast and damage taken. By doing that, if you get hit, you'll consume all the nearby corpses, which makes a lot of their corpse consumption stuff really not that bad. Other things which are kind of worth recommending is definitely get Chaos Res. Now, I'm in a private league which has minus res, and that affects Chaos Res, so I'm stacking Chaos Res on multiple items, but it's very important. Keep in mind, ones which do a lot of chaos damage are Tora does a lot of chaos damage, It That Fled does a lot of chaos damage. So if you have a It That Fled here, for example, rank 3 Breach Scarabs, I know I want to do this guy. Maybe think, maybe I'll run an Amethyst Flask before I run the final safe house. Just small little things like that. Invest in defense. If you invest into defense for what you're struggling with, you'll be okay. And likewise, if you don't want to invest into defense at all, and you know that your build's very weak against chaos damage, whenever you get the option, just remove Tor and just remove it that fled from your syndicate board. You have a lot of control over this system. I know it seems incredibly overwhelming, but you completely dictate everything that happens here. Like, you have full control of it. Now, one other thing that is very much worth mentioning is there is a bug page. Now, if you're like, I don't understand, something's very wrong here, I keep running into the same issue, check this page and I will leave this linked down below. And this covers all the known issues and the high priority issues. If you're encountering a bug which isn't on this list, then please do report it to GGG. If the bug is on their list and it's like here, like a high priority issue, you don't need to report it, they know about it. There are some which are particularly annoying. One that I've had, which isn't actually on here, which has been throwing me off quite a lot, is my map stash tab. In before it actually is on there, I just can't read. When I put maps into my map stash tab, sometimes they actually disappear. I've had a case when I first started getting core maps, I was putting them into my stash and they weren't appearing here, and I was like, what the hell's happening? Your maps haven't like vanished, it's just a visual bug. If you relog and you reload in, they'll reappear again. But just if you've had the case of like maps not appearing and stuff, that's one thing to do there. Another thing I really want to just shout out is make sure that you're regularly checking your menagerie. You regularly get very powerful crafts, and people aren't really in the habit of checking it every now and again. You can also craft heat, dowsing, scorching, grounding, curing, and warding mods on your flasks very early on. Make sure you have complete coverage of all of that stuff. So, just to summarize, make sure you have Chaos Res if you're getting wrecked by the Chaos Boys. Keep a close eye on who you're upgrading and when. Try and fit corpse consumption into your build if at all possible. And if there's anything that you think that I missed out, please let me know. And again, when it comes to interrogating people in this bottom row aren't really going to give you that much. So try and do it for the higher rank ones. And if you only get 2 options, there's nothing wrong with just walking away and coming back. One final thing, which I actually fell for a few times, is when it comes to unveiling mods. So when you get the choice of 3 mods, I should have saved a veiled item for this, but I didn't. There will be like an XP bar, so it will be like a bar which starts off grey and then fills up gold. If the bar is completely gold from left to right, that means it's completely leveled up. And any additional crafts that you do of that won't get any better. It's not actually that clear if something's fully leveled up or not, if you're not paying attention. So there are a few times where I thought I was ranking up a craft, which I already had at max. So if you see it completely red start to finish and no like plus number on the right hand side, you don't need to keep crafting it. And anything you craft here can then be crafted again here, including the flask mods you get from the final boss can be put on any flask, such as I have here, for example. So yes, take it slow, take it easy, pause, read, check the mods, work out exactly what it is you want to have, check the bug reports. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.